Now at 11 on Time Warner Cable News on ABC 45.
It's going to cost other lives, and it could have caused searchers and rescuers potential for loss of lives or injury.
The Rockingham County Sheriff's Office holds a news conference to talk about new developments in the case of a Reidsville man who said he had fallen inside a well. Hear why that man is now facing charges. More fiery testimony today in the North Carolina voter ID trial. We have a recap of what happened in court. And a local university remembers and honors one of the crew members who lost his life when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded 30 years ago. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Sharon Stone. Details on those stories coming up. First here at 11, meteorologist Terry Bennett is here with your first check of your weather on the One's forecast. Kind of chilly out there tonight, Terry.
Yeah, temperatures dropping back.
Great. See you then. Thank you, Terry. The Rockingham County Sheriff's Office held a news conference to talk about new developments in the case of a Reidsville man who claimed to have fallen in a well. You may recall last Thursday, 44-year-old Roy Reed phoned his family for help. A massive search effort went into play with both Rockingham and Stokes counties. However, Reed surfaced the following morning saying he had climbed out of the well. Authorities briefly suspended the search for Reed because of harsh weather. They also realized Reed's story was not adding up.
We started noticing some discrepancies afterwards when we started compiling the information, because during a major search you've got a lot of information coming in, and then when you sit down and start analyzing what you've done and what's taking place, that's when we started putting some things together. I got to leave it at that.
Investigators say Reed lied about the incident. He is in jail under a $10,000 bond and charged with felony obstruction of justice. He's expected to appear in court February 15th. Defense testimony is underway in the federal trial over North Carolina's voter ID law that went into effect this year. The plaintiffs rested their case today after nearly 4 days of testimony. Bob Costner has been following this case in U.S. District Court in Winston-Salem. Defense testimony continues at 9 in the morning. That trial could take most of the day and go into Monday morning. North Carolina's ABC Commission is traveling around the state, educating restaurant servers and bartenders on alcohol laws. The goal is to prevent underage drinking. Leaders with the group are teaching sellers about the right way to check an ID, how to spot a fake one, and guidelines for sales to intoxicated consumers. 2 people in North Carolina die every week from underage drinking.
We want to make sure that they understand what the rules and regulations are around underage drinking, and that we give them every tool of the trade so that they can help these kids stay safe. We know there's a lot of incidences, and we want to make sure that everybody in North Carolina has a chance to prevent it.
Businesses caught selling to underage patrons face stiff penalties. An employee can be fined up to $2,000, a business up to $5,000. This winter's first snowstorm took a real toll on roads and highways across the state. Now that most of that wintry mix has melted away, City of Greensboro maintenance crews are working to repair damage caused by the snowfall. So far, they have repaired more than 600 holes. Crews anticipate by the end of the year, they'll fix close to 6,000 holes. One supervisor warns drivers potholes can be dangerous.
If you hit a nice sized pothole, I mean, they can do undercarriage damage. They can do damage to your tires, your rims. So potholes is a big thing. They're dangerous.
Munoz says right now his crews are focusing on citizen complaints. Next week, they'll have a more widespread pothole plan in place. 30 years after the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded, the North Carolina A&T community gathered to remember an alum who was on board. NCA&T graduate Ronald McNair was one of 7 crew members killed in the explosion. Brandon Livornia spoke with some of McNair's friends about their memories of him. Ronald McNair was the second African-American in space after his first trip in 1984. 3,000 tons of dirt dropped, pushed, and piled into the Greensboro Coliseum complex. Today was day 1 of preparations for AmSoil Arena Cross coming to Greensboro this weekend. It takes more than 100 trucks to move in the dirt, compact it down to be racetrack ready.
Once, like I said, the checkered flag flies, we'll actually just tear everything down, like all the banners, all the structures, everything. We'll put them in our ops trailers. The dirt crew will actually put everything in one pile and just cycle trucks all night long.
The AmSoil Arena Cross professional race is Saturday night at the Coliseum complex. Amateur day is Sunday.
Warmer time.
Terry, it sounds like we have some nice weather to look forward to this weekend.
We really do, and the timing is perfect. It's going to.
Thank you, Terry. Two popular spots for kids in Winston-Salem will soon become one attraction. Amara Mokwe has details on what to expect now that the Children's Museum and SciWorks are merging.
Put it right here.
Carrie McFadden and her children, Carrington and Hayes, love to get out of the house to learn and play.
We visit the Children's Museum about once a week, and SciWorks we don't visit as often, maybe about twice a year.
She says SciWorks is a bit too far for her to get to, but the two museums merging opens up possibilities that could make her feel differently.
I think if the memberships were joined, that would be great. I would love to go to SciWorks because they have animals there.
For now, the merger's just on paper, but leaders at both museums say joint memberships are one of the options possible with the new combination.
I think that over time you're going to begin to see more programming and more sharing of resources and much more partnership and collaboration than you may have seen in the past.
The two are staying at their separate locations, but looking forward, the Children's Museum is quickly outgrowing its space, and SciWorks would like a more centrally located spot.
And so we believe that if we can find a new location that works well for the community, that provides access for everybody in the community, and that allows us to really deliver our program as well as we could, that it would behoove us to find that new location and perhaps move under a single roof.
The merger is something museum leaders have considered for years, since there are so many similarities in their missions. And now parents like McFadden can look forward to it becoming a reality and more of the benefits that come with visiting both places.
Very hands-on. They get to experience things that I don't have at my house.
In Winston-Salem, Amara Mokwe, Time Warner Cable News.
The merger will take effect July 1st. Still to come, fresh off surgery for a broken arm, Panthers linebacker Thomas Davis says he will play in Super Bowl 50, but the veteran says he is not motivated by selfish means. Jason Brown joining us now with a look at your sports. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Sharon. The list of Kyle Locke.
Jason, that's pretty impressive that he is playing with a broken arm. I'm pretty sure that would sideline me.
Yeah, I think it's sidelined just about everybody. But, you know, we're also talking to a guy named Thomas Davis, who, of course, is the reigning NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year for what he's done off the field with his charitable foundation, but also a guy athletically who's overcome 3 ACL knee injuries. So that likely could be your career-threatening, just having 1 or possibly 2. He's had 3 of them and has come back, and he is a Pro Bowler this year, although, of course, the Panthers won't be partaking in the Pro Bowl thanks to going to Super Bowl 50.
All right, thank you, Jason.
Sure.
And crews were busy this afternoon getting Romare Bearden Park ready for the Carolina Panthers' official send-off to that Super Bowl. Tomorrow's rally will include appearances from several players, the Top Cats, the percussion drum line, and the Black and Blue crew. This will be the second appearance in the Super Bowl for the Panthers. Charlotte Center City Partners says it's not one that should be taken for granted.
You know, there are 30 other cities in the country that would love to be doing this for their NFL team right now. Charlotte and Denver get to send their teams off to the Super Bowl, and you know, it's special, and we have to remember that as a community, that it's a magical time for Charlotte, it's a special time for our Carolina Panthers, and we are truly lucky to be able to host this event in Uptown tomorrow.
Organizers are expecting significantly large crowds. The send-off will begin at 12 tomorrow with a presentation starting at 1. It is that time of year again, Girl Scouts cookie time. But what if you're on a diet? There is still something you can do to help the Girl Scouts on their mission. Now's your chance to grab a box or 2 of Caramel Delights, Thin Mints, peanut butter patties, whatever your choice is. It is Girl Scout cookie season. Scouts say there are multiple ways to buy and a lot of reasons to do so. Elise Michelanis has more on this year's Cookie Crunch. If you're watching your diet and you want to stay away from the cookies, you can always participate in Operation Sweet Treat. That's a program that makes it easy to purchase Girl Scout cookies for our troops. Is presidential Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders in good enough health to be president? His doctor releases a medical note today. Details on that next. Here's tonight's Carolina Minute. A new report from the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs shows North Carolina has the 8th largest veteran population in the country. The population now sits around 775,000. From the turn of the millennium until about 2011, North Carolina was actually losing veterans to other states like South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. UNC Chapel Hill says more students applied to go to the university next year than any other application period in its history. It says as of Monday, nearly 36,000 students applied. The students applied from all counties in North Carolina, the 50 states, Washington, D.C., and more than 100 different countries. In 2015, 110 cases of human trafficking were reported to the National Human Trafficking Hotline from North Carolina. That's according to new data released by Polaris, a nonprofit dedicated to stopping trafficking. But advocates for victims say the problem is actually even more widespread than those numbers suggest. The nonprofit Justice Ministry says it rescued more than 100 victims in the Charlotte area alone last year. These stories and more are available anytime on Time Warner Cable News. Senator Bernie Sanders released a letter from his doctor today showing that he is in good health to become the next president. The release of health records is customary among presidential candidates, perhaps more important for Sanders, who, if elected, will be the oldest president to ever serve. Sanders would be 75 on Inauguration Day. The record for oldest president is currently held by Ronald Reagan, who was 69. A new study shows that wages are down in most major cities in the U.S. The study from the Brookings Institution reveals wages fell in 80 of the 100 biggest metropolitan areas. The report looked at several economic measures between 2009 and 2014. On the bright side, however, almost all of those areas saw improvement in at least one area, such as employment and productivity. Only 8 cities saw median wages and employment rise, while poverty rates fell. And stay with us. Terry has a final check of your forecast coming up after this quick break. One library in Charlotte has a unique way for kids to use their energy. Through a Donors Choose grant, the library at Charlotte Middle School installed a couple of exercise bikes to help students productively burn off that extra energy. Officials at the library say it's something everyone should be able to appreciate.
Studies have proven that oftentimes students learn better when they're moving. Some students need to move so that they can store information, and an exercise bike like that is perfect because they're able to move without disturbing anyone else around them.
Officials with the library say students love the bikes and they always seem to be in use. One North Carolina man is taking his battle with cancer to the national stage. The Prostate Cancer Foundation has a contest to help raise awareness, and the person with the most votes will go to Super Bowl 50 in California. Charlie Robinson is in the running. He says it would be a dream come true to go to the Super Bowl, but he's just happy to help raise awareness.
I really believe that it will raise a lot of awareness, and I really hope that during the contest itself there is enough attention brought to it so it has meaning.
Robinson is in the top 5. Before you head to bed, let's get a last check of your forecast now with Terry. Thank you, Terry, and thank you for joining us. Jimmy Kimmel Live is up next. Time Warner Cable News is available around the clock and on your schedule. Have a great night.